Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rising Stars. I'm your host, Sean Watt. This production is sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. I'm very proud to announce our next guest, Esther Brzezinski. How are you?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me.
You look amazing.
Oh, stop. Don't stop.
Yeah. And thank you for taking the time to be on our show today.
My pleasure.
So let's just dive right in.
Okay.
When did you start acting?
I would say around 2019.
So recent, like last 5 years?
Yeah, last 5 years.
So why acting though?
Well, it was kind of a bucket list thing in addition to the fact that I actually started doing voiceover. And
so you did voiceover before actual acting?
Yes. So that's what I got into initially. And it was sort of my side hustle because I had an accessory business.
Yeah.
And I started doing a little bit of voiceover. And after taking some classes and actually getting some work, I realized that I needed some acting behind me because oftentimes voice work is voice acting. So I decided to take a couple of courses. I had MSOPA, which we're all familiar with.
Absolutely.
With JOSA, foundation, scenes, etc. I think I took every course that they offered. And I got hooked.
Yeah.
You know, I said, oh my God, I would love to do this. This is what I want to do. And everyone in my class was it was like I found my people.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
It's finding your herd and where you belong in society.
Exactly.
Because I've gone so far, and I'm a young guy, but through high school, a little bit of college, I never felt like I belonged. I always felt like just socially awkward and even anxious to be around certain individuals that are living the norm life. And
of course.
It's very weird and awkward, to be honest.
Very weird. I mean, I was, living in suburbia, mother, 2 kids, married, typical.
Yeah.
I almost had a white picket fence, and somehow I never felt like I belonged. I always felt different.
Even though you had it all in terms of family.
Yeah, I had it all. Yeah. And it was just something was off. Something was missing.
So how did you get into voice acting though? Because not everyone wants to get into that before getting into acting or even voice acting alone.
I know.
So how did that happen?
It was a funny story.
Yeah.
Literally at a party, some gentleman tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Your voice." And then he went on to describe.
Excuse me, sir.
He just like the octaves and the levels and how it resonates and this. I didn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
I was very flattered. I never heard the word voiceover in my life, and the next day I actually started to research it. And a couple of weeks later, I actually saw something. I think it was on Facebook that. It was Paula Davis's class from MSOPA offering voiceover. So I started taking classes. And at the same time, I joined some sites online where you can apply for jobs. Like you audition, like voice123.com, voice.com.
Oh yeah, they have like open castings there?
So you just join, you pay a fee, or you can get the basic membership.
Yeah.
And you get auditions. And I literally did 40 auditions before I got my first gig.
That's not bad though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still, what is it? 2% or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's the cold hard facts when it comes to acting or voice acting.
100%.
Is that I've done auditions for example, like Ubisoft and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you're in the little box there, but you need to imitate a sound where your character's either jumping up or down 50 feet, and you have to make the grunt, and you have limited space to work with. So there's a lot of inflection in the voice. You need to enunciate, you need to do certain things to make it interesting, not make it so narrated, right?
Right.
And that's another type of voice acting, and there's so many different subgenres when it comes to
Very
that.
much so, and I'm pretty much started in narration. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's
do you plan on doing like audiobooks or?
Not really. I'd like to get more into commercials and also video games and animation because I can do voices. I did voices all my life, and when my kids were little, the only way I could get their attention was to be like Barney the dinosaur, like,
make a fool of yourself.
Come on, kids, let's go have lunch.
That's pretty good.
And I would just do it for fun.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as a career, and lo and behold, it is. But that's an area that I would like to explore more because I usually get booked for more narration type things. So I am working with someone now one-on-one with a coach. And so that's the goal.
I wonder if it's more not your talent, but more demand of character specs. You know what I mean? Because it's not necessarily that, like through auditions at like let's say for example, Ubisoft, they have Assassin's Creed.
Right.
It's very male dominated for their roles in Assassin's Creed, right? There's very little of the females to
that's
be,
true.
and a big role in that. And maybe that's what it is. It's not that opportunity till a video game shows up, and it's like, okay, now there's a female lead or a supporting cast member for that video game.
Yeah.
Look at the Far Cry franchises. It's another video game by Ubisoft. It's male-dominated villains.
They usually are, unfortunately, but
there
is room for female voices, and there are many female voices that are out there doing that kind of work. And eventually, I'd like to be one of them. So that's one of my goals.
And now this could be an opportunity for you to create that demo reel of being ahead of that opportunity when it presents itself to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So creating this dark, malicious demo reel of you being this whole other person and have it ready for when that time comes.
Yeah.
Capitalize, right? You want to be pre-prepared for when that door opens up.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm working on it. That's
like
one of my new goals, so to speak.
Like I'm not someone who's strong in the animation aspects of like doing goofy voices like you can excel at. I'm someone who can do like war soldiers, throwing a grenade and blowing up, and like someone gets blown up and you're yelling for help and that kind of stuff, right? Real serious, dramatic voiceover acting.
Right.
That's what I can do, but nothing in terms of what you can do, where you have so many different characters. Like you could probably do a whole TV show just by yourself.
I could do a lot of characters. Don't ask me to do accents.
Okay.
I mean, aside from a British, an old Jewish woman, or something along those lines, like simple type accents, I can do.
Yeah.
But no, if you're asking me to, speak in a Scottish, I can't. Irish, Scottish, yeah. Even if you break it down to dialects, which is expected from a voice actor who does accents. I mean, they get down to very specifics. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not something I'm
It's funny that
gifted
you're bringing
with.
that up. Yeah, because it seems like being a voiceover actor or actress is like some of the bigger ones out there. It's either they specialize in like multiple voices or they have an ear for accents. It's one or the other. It's never both. True. It's never both. And it's weird how that works.
And you're absolutely right, because the coach that I'm working with, who was a very well-known voiceover actor in the 90s, went to Hollywood, the whole shebang. She can't do accents as well. So that's so interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if it has to do with what side brain you are, left or
maybe.
right. I don't know. I know there's something deeper there, but
we're gonna have to research that.
So you've studied at MSOPA.
Yes.
You've taken all their courses. Where have you studied anywhere else afterwards?
Yeah, I've taken about 5 workshops with Johnny Cortez.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Okay. And what influenced you to take courses with him? Because there's so many options out there now. You can do anything through Zoom, through coaches throughout the world, right?
Yeah, I think because it was a very sort of intense weekend, you get to do, a scene with someone, and that gets sort of dissected. So scene study, plus you do improv, and cold reads, like the whole gamut of areas of acting that you do in one weekend. So 2 days, 9 hours each day, and I tried it the first time and loved it.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. So
and that comes back to finding your herd.
Exactly.
Like, okay, I like learning with these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
There's definitely a connection and a closeness and a feeling of family and community. So yeah, I enjoyed that as well. And Anik Matrin also, I took some improv courses with her.
Yeah, I heard she's pretty good.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, I love her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've done the voiceover, a little bit of acting.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a step back a little bit to when we met through Josa's online business course for actors, and it's a great networking opportunity. But at that time, you started becoming TikTok famous.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so first of all, during COVID, I actually started 2 podcasts. I had Esther's Breeze, and I also had Noon Hour Out of the Box.
I remember that. Are you still continuing Esther's Breeze?
No. And I used to interview actually people in the entertainment industry.
Like what I'm doing.
Like what you're doing, yeah, kind of very similar type of thing. And it was live. Yeah. I used a website where you have where you have the ability to go live, and
that's cool.
Yeah, so it would go to like 5 different platforms. No, it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And so I started going on TikTok promoting my podcasts. And I kind of got into TikTok rather, sort of scrolling. I sort of start to get a feel for it. And I decided one day to just try like video. Let's see if I just do a little video, not promoting, what I'm doing, but just like, I'm going to talk about how I feel. I felt a little frustrated as an actor in her early 60s because my camera age is not in the 60s, it's more in the 50s.
Yeah.
And yet there were women who were being hired in their late 40s to cover the 50s. So I felt like I was sort of falling between the cracks because I didn't look like a typical, at the time, 64-year-old. Right. Now I'm 67. So incredible. Yeah. It's just good genetics. But all that to say, people have expectations. I should have, look, gray hair, wrinkles.
Very stereotypical.
Very stereotypical, which is so unfair. No. And I did a video about it. And I
went on a rant. Let's be honest.
I was on a rant. I had an aging filter, and basically, which I don't even remember, Snapchat. Yeah, I found it on Snapchat.
Remember that. Yeah.
And it was basically. I'm 64 years old and people expect me to look like this. And then I removed the filter, showed my real face, and I said, but instead, I look like this. Yeah, I'm 64 years old and this is what I look like. Now, I had 70 followers. This was a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. I had people over because at that time we were allowed to have people in the backyard. This was during COVID, right? Yeah. Put my phone down like this. Didn't know about turning notifications off, and I heard ding, 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 ding. I look at my phone, 2 hours later, I had 300,000 views on this one little video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I had 70 followers. Obviously, it wasn't my followers. Somehow the algorithm was like, oh my God, this is like maybe 10 people responded, and it told the algorithm, okay, let's push this one up. And it got all these crazy views. And I realized that I had something, like I have something here. I'm gonna go with it. And
it's not by accident.
No, I guess not. And I went on this platform called Clubhouse. I don't know if you remember Clubhouse. And it was also very big during all the lockdowns. And it's an audio platform. And they had a room there for TikTokers. And I went into this room and I basically started asking questions, told them my story. And they had a daily room, and I would go every day into this room online and ask questions and listen to all these big TikTokers and how they got all these followers and how the algorithm works, and just
educating yourself.
I just totally educated myself on it, and I followed whatever they said, and I slowly built a following. And I think about a year and a half later, and I just want to backtrack. I took the videos that I did on TikTok and I started putting it on Instagram. Yeah. And I also started putting it on Facebook because Facebook also has.
I remember it was slow for you when you switched over from TikTok to Facebook and Instagram. Like you're putting out the same content, but for whatever reason, the algorithm wasn't working.
It wasn't as good. However, it eventually did pick up, and in the same week, a year and a half later, I reached 100,000 followers on TikTok and on Instagram in the same week.
That's crazy.
No, I swear.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was very crazy. It definitely shows that whatever I was talking about resonated with a lot of individuals. Yes, when I talk about age is not my cage, which is my hashtag and my motto, etc.
Well, that's your brand, but then also you're speaking in terms of out of the norm of stereotypes, which is fair because there's still that old school mentality where it's like, well, when you're this age, you need to have this, 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 and behave like this, and look like this, and dress like this, right? And you're like, well, screw that. No.
That's exactly it. No, right? This is who I am. This is how it. And there are a lot of individuals in my age range who feel the way I do, who still like to go out, have fun, like to be
sex life,
exactly.
And there's no shame about that.
Absolutely
it's
not.
Normal. You're human.
Why does everyone assume that it's over? It's not over. Not at all. In fact, you have all this freedom now because your kids are grown. You've done your work. Most people are retired. You have all this freedom. You have the financial means most of the time. You've had all this wisdom of living, and you're still young and healthy. Thanks to modern medicine, we can live into our 90s, no problem. So we've got all these years ahead of us. And I completely changed my life. I was an entrepreneur. And then I got into voice acting, and then into acting, and into content creation in my 60s. So
it's like a female Morgan Freeman.
Oh yeah,
they call you Morgana Freeman.
Oh wow, I never thought of that, but okay, right? I'll go with that but one because he started late. Yeah,
he started at 54.
There you go. So I started at 64, 10 years later.
See, age is not my case.
Age is
Morgana
not my,
Freeman.
Yeah, that's Morgana right? Freeman. Okay.
But I mean, the way I see it too is you created a movement, an empowerment amongst these women, and male or female. And they resonated and they say, you know what, we agree with you and this is why it's been so successful. But when it comes to you being TikTok famous, has that presented any opportunities for you in the acting world?
Absolutely.
Gigs,
and this is something, another thing that I would like to stress is that a lot of directors, producers are starting to look at social media, looking for people. Mm-hmm. In fact, I got a role because of my TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody on the team had seen my TikToks and they were looking for somebody to play the mother. And they said, oh, there's this woman, blah, blah, blah. I think she's a Montrealer. And that's exactly, and they told me afterwards.
Yeah.
That they didn't even audition me. And then they told me like, yeah, because so-and-so saw you on TikTok. And that's how we found out about you. And It's not the first time.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's a way, it's to showcase in a sense who you are. Mm-hmm. You know, because oftentimes, you know, people go online and go on social media because they want to know the person. You know, it's the personality
absolutely.
That's what they're interested in. You know, even if you're trying to promote a book or you're trying to promote a film, you know, it's all the behind the scenes stuff that people are really interested in. They want to know the individual.
Now you're starting to make me rethink my whole strategy I put on social media.
That's okay. If you want some help, I'm here for you. But I'm a big believer in it. You know, I do think it's a great way to promote yourself, and I think it's a way to showcase. I have put a couple of scenes on there as well.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the issue. Okay? Yeah. So as an actor, sometimes I'll put in 3, 4, 5 days of solid work for a scene or, you know, a monologue, and I'll put it up, and then it's like little to no reactions. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. I put so much hard work for 3 likes and for my mom to say, great job, I love you. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of discouraging because of the amount of time I've tried to put into projects to put online, but then the reception is just like,
because people are not interested in that. They don't want to see the final product, the professional, rehearsed. Mm-hmm. That's like, oh, next.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is.
You know, if you would have said, listen, I got to do this monologue, and it's and it's really stressing me out, and I don't know.
It's a story.
Yeah, there's a story behind it. You know, like, you guys have any tips? Blah blah blah. Write it in the comments. I mean, there you have to engage, and B, you have to be vulnerable and real, and that's what people like. You know, resonate with. Yeah. They don't want the person who is has it all put together.
Finished
they don't want the professional side. That's boring.
Yeah.
You know, they want to see like I said, the person behind all that. So I never really put a scene per se. I did one, but I've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I do it in stories. I think stories on Instagram, even TikTok.
That's the best way to do it. Stories.
Stories
it's not posts, right?
No, posts are okay. I mean, it's good, you know, if you're interested in getting brands to work with you and collaborations, it's great to have a good following, a solid following, good engagement, etc. If you want people to get to know you, it's in the stories, oftentimes.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but through like the professional profiles through Instagram, if you go to like ads or like, you know, collaborations in the settings there, you can request to collaborate with someone.
Yes,
so you can type in Hugo Boss and they'll either approve you or not, and you'll get paid for it if they approve you.
Yeah,
which is very interesting. So you can just take your shot and go through all the companies that you like, shoot your shot, go through them. Hey, you want to collaborate with me? Yes, and you might get a hit on that.
That's one way. I do get brands who approach me personally. I do have an agent in Toronto who also works with me for brand deals and also acting as well. Yeah. So, and it initially started with as an influencer, and then she saw that I was an actor as well, so she took me on as an actor. So you'll see more and more agencies are doing, you know, recruiting actors and influencers and models. Like, influencers have now become a category within themselves.
Yeah, they are. You know, and you'll notice on the agency websites. Influencers, and you'll go through and it's like, okay, well, guess people want to book them, right? For obvious reasons for the following.
Well, first of all, if you're an influencer and you also have acting experience, I mean, it's a huge bonus. I get a lot of work. That's what they call user-generated content. So I do content for the company. And the fact that I have some acting knowledge and ability is a huge plus because they give you a script.
Yeah.
I get like 10 pages of a script and, try the cream, say this, da-da. And I'm acting as well as presenting, as well as being a collaborator.
In those opportunities, though, obviously when you're a collaborator, you're upselling, right? You're talking all about the perks. But are there moments where you've maybe wanted to give an honest review about a product? Like, let's say it wasn't a collaborator, but you like picked up this cream and you're like, you know what? I'm going to tell the cold hard truth. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, I've done that once. I've done that once or twice. Yeah,
Is it a hit? Is it a miss?
Yeah, neutral? And to be honest, if I don't like the product, I'm not going to endorse it. I'm not going to work with.
So you're not a sellout.
I'm not a sellout at all.
You believe in the brand that approaches you and says, "Hey, let's do this," and then you do research on them and say, "I like what you stand for. Let's do this."
Yeah, I always do that.
I think that's important.
I very much prefer that. Yeah, and I have turned down many that I have not felt was right for me, or a product that I believe in, or like gambling related, for instance.
I don't believe in that either. No way.
All these games online, and they want people to promote them. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm really not going to do that because there's people who have real issues with gambling.
They lose their entire house.
That's right. It's an addiction. Why would I promote an addiction or
promoting
potential?
A cigarette commercial.
Yeah. So I will back off from that. But I definitely appreciate the fact that I have training with acting and voice work because it fits in perfectly with working with brands and the sort of the influencer side of things.
Do you do any French roles?
No, but I am UDA, which is interesting.
How did you get?
So I played a English barmaid in a French film called La Grande Vide.
Really?
Yeah, and I had one line. Can I say the line? There's a dirty word in it. No.
How dirty?
Okay, get that F out of here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the line.
That's it.
And that's how I got UDA.
What? Well, it's not so bad.
Jesse Dupont is the director, and the film is amazing.
Yeah.
I went to see.
Did it just come out recently, or was it?
It came out recently in theaters in Quebec and Eastern Quebec as well. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, feature-length film. Just a fluke. He found me on Facebook.
The only Anglophone role, and they're like,
there were three. There were three Anglophone roles. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how was it like being on set for a UDA project of that magnitude, or be in theaters? Was it similar to ACTRA? No difference.
I am not ACTRA.
Okay.
I'm only UDA. It was it was an independent film, but it was a feature-length film. Yeah. So no, it was very cool on set. Everybody was great. I enjoyed the experience very much. Had no idea what a big deal it was, and then when I saw the film, I was so blown away. This guy is
some of those projects
amazing.
You never know what to expect, but sometimes it's beautiful.
Yeah.
What comes from it, it's like it exceeds your expectations.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they're bad at what they're doing. It's just you don't know what to expect.
No, you don't know what to expect.
Sometimes it's just a stranger, and you have to trust what their description says or whatever in their ad. Okay, well, gonna creak over there. Let's try, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you're just in one scene, and sometimes you don't have access to the whole script. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
It depends. So,
Good for you. That must be really
and
neat.
I got a silent role in Indefensible, I think it's...
I think that's...
Yeah,
I don't speak French.
There you go. I'm not
Franglish
so great.
Maybe, but
I'm not great at it either. So so I had a silent role there as well on a big TV show. So
that's great.
Yeah, that was fun. Just because I got a role in the feature-length film, so it opened up doors. So that was great.
Do you speak French?
Not well.
No. Do you speak any other languages?
I speak Yiddish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you born and raised? Did you learn?
It was
or did you
my
learn
first language.
Was it?
Yeah. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and they came from Eastern Europe. My mother was from Belarus, and my father was from Poland.
Wow.
And they both spoke Yiddish. That was their, what they call Momoloshin, which is their mother tongue.
Yeah.
And we were brought up in Yiddish.
Wow.
So it's a very old language. It's very similar to German. And I actually got to use it in this film I did recently called Madame Flamingo.
Nice.
Pretty Productions, yeah. So I play the role of a madame, hence the Madame Flamingo.
Yeah.
And she's an older woman, and she speaks a bit of Yiddish, and that was great fun to do.
It's nice to go back to the roots right there.
Yeah, to be able to use that language, and bring
some awareness, and that's really neat.
Yeah.
Good for you for finding a project that would embrace that.
Well, they came to me.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. Very fortunate.
So awesome.
I can't wait for it to come out.
When's it supposed to come out?
I don't know.
Don't know?
Don't know yet. Question mark. Yeah.
Did you just finish filming recently, or?
No, it was last March.
Okay, well.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, TBD.
Yeah, exactly. And that happens often.
A lot.
That you do something and you wait almost a year to see it come to fruition.
There was one project I did when I first moved to Montreal. I speak Spanish fluently because I lived in South America.
Okay.
So through Concordia University, I met this Spanish director, producers from Mexico. She was shooting a short film. 4 years.
Oh,
and
my God.
It's just about to come out now. Right? I think like February or March next year it's coming out. And I'm like, it's 4 years. I'm going to be so embarrassed.
No.
Because of, I was just such a starting actor.
Like a novice. I hear you.
Exactly. It was like one of my first student projects. I'm like, oh my God, the beardless days, like Spanish, which I had no problem speaking Spanish. But
I think that's an asset. That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So let's talk about a dream role.
A dream role.
Let's say I'm a director or producer.
All right. Hello. Here. Nice to meet you.
Sign your soul.
All right. Where do I sign? Whoops. Sorry.
What's like a dream role of yours in film or television that you would love?
I've been asked this before on a podcast, and it's comedy, and sort of a Woody
nothing
Allen.
in particular, though?
Sort of a Woody Allen type of neurotic Jewish lady who's just like hilariously funny, but doesn't know she's funny.
Oh, I can already picture that.
And sort of gets herself into situations or sometimes says things she shouldn't say and is very extremely psychological and cerebral and worries about everything. And that type of role.
What about a role that you would never do?
I would never do.
Yeah, like for example, like there's some people that are afraid of like Annabelle, horror movies. Some actors would never want to do.
Something very physical, athletic, I would be afraid to do. Like something where I'd have to like climb down a wall and jump into,
they'll have stunts or double-ings for you, or it's a male with a wig and he's going to go down for you.
I think even a shower scene would be uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's either like I remember signing with my agency that I have in Toronto, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to do nude scenes?" And I'm like, "I'm all for it because I don't care,"
Right.
But I don't know, maybe like even like sensual scenes. There's intimacy for it. It's not even real, but you need to feel certain chemistry with the actors. And that could lead to something after. That's just the cold hard truth. Right?
It's funny because I was part of this film festival, the 48-hour film festival, and we did.
Here in Montreal.
Yeah, we had to do a film within 48 hours. Had to be written, filmed, and edited in 48 hours. Yeah. So we did one. It was called, oh my God, The Last Noel. Or the Final Noel, I don't know, I can't remember the name exactly. And in this film, I had to kiss someone. Mm-hmm. And
first time ever?
Yes, first time I ever had to kiss someone on screen. It was the first man I've kissed, aside from my boyfriend, in 20 years.
Wow.
It was like...
How did that feel? Because you have to make it look believable. And
I mean, it wasn't like sensual. It was more like, like what the hell? Like, it was sort of a, and then that was it. It was, exactly. But it was really funny because, the assistant director kept giving me mints and it was like building up to the, like, oh my God, how's that going to work?
If I ever had to do that, it'd be like, okay, I have some XL, the gum in the container there.
Really
I'll pop it open. Like, which one's your favorite?
Exactly.
Spearmint mint. Okay, that's what I'm popping in for this, right?
Yeah. It was so funny because she was sort of following me around with mints. Like, I mean, why? Is it so bad? But
I know, right? That's kind of self-conscious.
A little bit. I know.
Caffeine breath, water breath. What is this?
I know. So that was a bit uncomfortable. Yeah. I would find that uncomfortable.
And that's fair enough. I mean, you love your boyfriend. Makes sense.
I mean, as an actor, you have to put that aside. It's just
you also have the choice if you want to do it. Like there are a few actors in Hollywood that refuse to kiss another person because they're with their partners.
I did not know that.
If you read about it, there's a guy named Sean Cahill. He's an actor who portrays Sean Cahill in the series Suits. It's one of the FBI guys
Oh,
with
yeah?
the blonde hair there.
Okay.
He refuses to kiss another woman. He's never done it his whole career.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, there's a bunch on the list there. If you look at it, it's quite interesting. It's like, good for you guys, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand it. I said, I'd never been in that situation, so it's interesting how I felt. It was extremely uncomfortable.
So, believe it or not,
Yeah.
our time's already up.
Get
which
out.
is crazy. I know. We'll both get out of here after we wrap up. One last question.
Okay.
So, obviously, I'm going to cater towards your following, right? Age is not my cage. So, let's say 40s to 99, 100, whatever. What can you do to help encourage them to pursue acting or voice acting with confidence and to help them get over the fence when they're leaning on it and they're like, oh, I don't know if I should do acting because I'm too old. Convince them right now. This is your moment to shine. To your following, to those that are on the fence.
The brilliant thing about aging is all the knowledge that you've accumulated, and in fact, it gives you a sense of comfort and confidence that you're not even aware that you have. And I think that's your time to shine. It's the time now when you really have become yourself and you've really been comfortable in your own skin. You need that time. You need that time to age so that you become who you were always meant to be. And that's when you should go after what you've always wanted to do. It's possible. Trust me, it's possible for a 64-year-old to explode on TikTok, to start acting, start doing voiceover work. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So
beautiful. Yeah, and that is well said. Thank you so much, Esther, for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for tuning into another episode with Esther Brzezinski. I'm your host, Sean Watt. This production is sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.